Their data is produced by the surveying and cadastral organisations, and even in annexes 2 and 3 you see the information there on elevation, orthoimagery. This is very common in our projects to do new orthophoto mapping for countries, either using satellite or aerial photography, recording the buildings and the land use. And when we look at what the countries themselves are requesting from us, we find that there are two key areas. One is improving the quality of services and reducing corruption, the e-cadaster as part of e-government. That's what is a key area now. And the other is the countries, because they're so close to Europe, they're generally looking at the SDI and the requirements of the Inspire Directive. It's amazing how the Inspire Directive is affecting so many countries. In Russia, we've been recently asked if we can support them there. It's unofficial at the moment, but they're looking at the Inspire Directive as a sort of guideline for how they can do their work in establishing SDI as well. For most countries, we're still in the early days. We've listed here some of the countries that are working on NSDI. I should mention something here, that the World Bank, you know, we are just one organisation that is involved with the governments. The governments themselves are the ones who have made all these achievements over the years. What we do is we provide advice to them, and we provide capital funds in order to help them to do what they want to do. So when we look at this list of what's being done in the various countries, it's not the bank taking credit for this, it's the countries themselves that are doing it. And the donors that are helping, especially countries like Norway, who are very heavily involved in this area, and the bank, are supporting what those countries themselves are doing. So legal and regulatory base, of course, that's one of the fundamentals. And you can see the countries there that are already commenced and got their legal and regulatory base underway. Coordination mechanisms, the next stage. You can see again the countries there that have that mechanism established. A strategy developed. Well, Serbia, they have one, and it's soon to be approved. Turkey already have one, and they're planned in other countries. You'll notice that these are countries that are more to the west of the region in which we work. It tends to be that way. The Western countries tend to be more advanced, and as you go further east, it's less so. I'm not going to go into too much details because many of these countries have got their own presentations on Friday. I don't want to steal their thunder. If you look at other regions, it's far less progress, maybe East Asia and Pacific region. The whole area of NSDI is already being covered within projects in Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, Laos and Thailand. And but it's still at the early stages yet. They're still developing the legal frameworks, they're still developing, getting steering committees established and so on. Africa, you see very, very much less. We have a new project in Ghana in which SDI is covered. And in South America, it's still, again, still in the early stages. They've been talking a lot about it, and in one of our projects we have in Bogota in Colombia, we have SDI included. Now we're looking at each of the individual countries that we are supporting. As I said, I'm not going to go into any great detail on these. In Croatia, there is a project underway. A new one is just about to start, in which there is an NSDI component, and these are the different activities within that NSDI component. Croatia, I know, are making a presentation on Friday. In Macedonia, we have a component dealing with NSDI as well, mainly on the legal framework, standards, strategies, development of portals and so on. Training and awareness is key in all of our projects. Montenegro, we're including NSDI within the project, closely associated with GTZ and Norway. And again, you can see there, it's a case of developing the standards, getting the strategies established, providing hardware and telecommunication equipment, and training and public awareness. Serbia, they're probably more advanced than most. They already have their legal framework completed, they have their strategy developed, they have a geoportal, and they're moving along quite quickly. They also are making a presentation. Turkey, again, Turkey are well advanced for the countries that we're working with in development of an SDI. And in our project there, we're concentrating on really providing the data. Remember, the data is actually the difficult and the expensive part. So if you need capital investment, then it's probably going to be for the data. A lot of the discussions, the legislative framework, the strategies can be done at less cost. But once you come to getting data and getting it into the system, then that can sometimes become very expensive, especially if you don't already have it. You know, many countries in Western Europe, you already have all the data. There is, in that whole Balkan region, there is an IPA multi-beneficiary program which we're keeping contact with. We're not funding it, but because we have projects in every one of the countries of this multi-beneficiary program, we're keeping links and where our projects can support what's happening with the IPA program, then we will do so. Those are the countries I mentioned there. They're all in the Balkans, mainly looking at the legal framework, capacity building and awareness. And what are our future challenges? Coordination and cooperation amongst all the key players, that's the fundamental. Collaboration with the private sector, who generally very often don't know what's going on in SDIs. Capacity development, especially in training, public awareness are absolutely key. The national standards for the digital data, improving data quality, and then linking with other sectors. We do have a problem in some countries with geodetic networks because the coordinates are secret. It actually then becomes very difficult to do a spatial data infrastructure if you can't share coordinates with anybody else. You can't get the basic data, basically, to be commonly shared. That's one of our challenges, especially the further east you go. And thank you very much. That's all for me. Thank you.